Okay, we're recording. So we're going to go over quickly the defense. The defense is actually pretty good, but I just want to go over it real quick, and then we're going to move to the offense. So one of the issues with the defense was, and we're going to fix this, the 9 was a little slow in pressing and also taking a bad angle. So it looked sometimes like this, like a little bit of a drifting. And then as our players shifted over, they were able to, because the 9 was in this kind of position, which in another defense would be fine, but everyone was expecting them to do this. So then sometimes the ball could get played back, and now we're vulnerable on the backside. So that needs to be fixed, and we will. Here comes T-Ben now. That needs to be fixed because that's not our system we're playing, and we just all have to play the same system, or else it gets confusing for the players. So if we would have done this when we did do this towards the end of the game, it was very effective. We didn't let up any goals except at the very end when we were just trying to score. And we just had a defensive mistake by Alex, who's not a defender and just kind of didn't know what to do. But we basically held them scoreless when we really started to press better, and we started to get a lot of turnovers. You saw Gian pressing, and all they could do was just blast the ball deep. We had our +1, and we just intercepted it like every time and came back and attacked. We almost tied the game multiple times towards the end, so we definitely grew into the game. Keep in mind, gentlemen, that because we're running a system, we're actually at a disadvantage at the beginning. I need everyone to understand that. I'll say that again. Because we're trying to run a system, we're going to be at a disadvantage while we learn it. Whereas other teams are going more on instinct and with the way they've always played. We're asking you guys to do a little extra tactically. So you're going to be a little slower doing it, and that's okay, because this is for us to taking a step back to take a big leap forward later. So this is what we need. We need that 9 to really bear down. But the man marking was pretty good. There were times I want to applaud Asher. So when he watches it later, as the ball went over to here to the fullback, and their good winger, would drop in to try to receive like he likes to do. He likes to drop in so he can receive the ball and get some speed up to try to take the fullback on. But Asher, because we have the man system, was following him all the way down. So when that ball came to him, Asher was already on him and wasn't letting him turn. He essentially that guy was completely neutralized. Whereas in another defense, if the fullback's sitting back more, this guy can receive. He can start to dribble forward. Now we're kind of on our back foot. So I liked a lot of what we saw with our man marking system. Really worked well. Again, the next step is, the 9, which we're going to look to maybe move. We'll talk about that later personnel-wise, but we're definitely going to improve that and really take that lane away and put pressure right away. If you watch the video of the second half, when Gian was coming in fast, it was forcing these guys to make decisions, and the only decision they were making was just blasting the ball down the field. And we just intercepted it like every time. We had that +1. So I'll say one more thing about the man marking. Gion's not going to steal the ball, or the 9, no matter who it is. Okay? The 11's not necessarily going to steal the ball. All right? The guy that's going to get the ball is usually this guy's going to panic, and the ball gets in here, and this is where we get the steal. Once the ball gets here, Luke would take a cover shadow. The 11 takes a cover shadow. The 10. See the idea? This is where we get the steal. This guy can kind of hold here. Be careful, because you come here, this is a little dangerous. We'd have to rely on the free man, so we can just hold. This is where we get the steal. So I need you to understand that everyone has to do their job for us to eventually get the steal. The 9 has to run hard. Okay. The 10 has to take away the 6, the 8, the 11. The 9 has to run hard to either force this guy to play the ball and then maybe we step in front and steal it, or we don't let them turn, and then we collapse. See, again, we can collapse. See it? Now maybe we get the steal from their 8. Again, the 9's not going to get the steal. The 9's going to get the goal. But the 9's not going to get the steal. Because when we do steal it, tries to play it, the ball's going to go to the 9. But the 9's not going to get the steal. Okay? The 11's not always going to get the steal. Although we may. It's going to come from us getting a guy with his back turned, and when his back is turned to his own goal, when he can't play forward, cover shadows all over the place. Cover shadows all over the place. And now the 11 is covering 2 guys. Our blue 11, our 8 is covering their 8 and pressing the 11. This is where we get the 9 should get into a position where he could steal, where he could score, maybe stay deep, or be ready to drop into the hole, but I'd prefer him deep. Okay. So the 10 can actually come in if he wants. Okay, because this guy can't play anywhere. Nowhere he can play. As Luke's coming in, this is all dangerous balls to send a flat ball across so the 10 can realize they don't need me anymore. He can start to be ready for a steal, possibly. But just be careful. But this is where I need to understand that the next step is, first off, the 9 has to be faster cutting the lanes. Everyone else has to get to their mark. And then other than that, we did pretty good. We have to understand that then the next step after the 9 is cover shadows when their back is turned. Once their back is turned and they can only play back, we got to cover shadow and press them. That's an extra pressing trigger for us to go. Does that make sense? I don't want to belabor that point because I want to move on to the offense. Does anybody have any questions on that? No? Okay. So, offense. What they did to us, we have to get always, defensively, we're always +1 in the back, right, guys? So this would be the +1 right now, right? The 6. So if they press with 2, this sets us up for offense. If the ball is sent down, I want you to see something. The free man grabs it, and watch this. This is how, when they press with 2 players, look, notice what happened. Our 6 is actually in there. And I didn't tell you to do this. I touched on it at a tactical, but I didn't expect you to do it in one game. The fullbacks, the 2 and the 3, actually now come out. This will keep the 11 and the 7 from pressing high, which is what they were doing. This is what was happening. Let me show you. Mostly at the beginning of the game when we were losing. So this allowed them to do an aggressive, they pressed more aggressive than we do. So I need you to see this. This is what it looked like. Asher and Marcelo under heavy pressure. They kept their line up. So even if we had high and wide, we were still in trouble. Because this was, with these lanes being taken away, straight on, the only lane is diagonal. And at the beginning of the game, Joel was doing a great job of, when Condi was getting marked out of it by the 10, because Condi was the first guy there, right? So Joel was like dropping in for us like this and allowing a ball, and he was actually really
The wrong
freaking
player.
good at it, really goddamn good at it. Did I just
The
use
wrong
the wrong
color.
player? Yeah, sorry, I used wrong color. So it would have been here. So sorry. So this would have been was getting marked out of the game. Condi. That's fine. Condi's just drawing a guy away. Okay. But we were getting saved. Our ass was saved by Joel coming into this diagonal and giving us an option. And then we were off to the races. And the beginning of the game, while he was in there, once you do that, notice how many guys we just broke. How many players did we just bypass?
4.
4. We bypass 4 players. Now, we don't want to have to rely on Joel all the time. We need to be better tactically. Um, so, and then Joel's job would be even easier. All right. Um, so, and this is so we're gonna show us how to handle that. The way we're gonna handle that is when they have 2 strikers up high. I want to ask you a question. When they have 2 strikers up high, right, defensively, what should we look like? Show me. So now they have. Show me what you should do. How do we defend this? Because it's going to be exact same way we're going to play offense. I'm going to tell you right now, pretty much. So defend that.
I can't move my thing, but I would still stay with number 10.
So let's make our 6 make things easy, the free man, because that's what we're going to have to do. I think going forward will be the easiest thing to do. So the 6 will be the free man, okay? Which means Gavin and the 4 have to do what? Someone take over the 4. I want you guys to move the pieces. I don't want to move them. So anybody that's on here, just take extra pieces. So I'm already seeing a problem. Gavin needs to take the 9.
Right.
Yep. And the two taking the 7. And if we do this defensively, then we're already going to be set for what I want us to do offensively.
So, Coach, you want the 6 to drop deep?
Say what? Yeah, we're going to have the 6 drop in. When they go with 2 strikers, when they go, this is a standard thing in soccer. Like, if they have 2 strikers, 2 central strikers, I want to clarify that it's central strikers. 2 central strikers, then we need 3 center backs to outnumber them to create the passing angles. So we don't have to rely on like heroics by Gavin. And Gavin was finding Joel, and our other center back was finding Joel on like a diagonal, which is great, but it took like really good passing for you guys to do it. It was a testament to our quality that we were able to, because we had Marcelo back there, we had Asher, we had Gavin, we had Gian. Condi was moving the guy out of the way by dragging his guy out. Like, we have good players, but like, we don't want to rely always on having better players than the other team. I'd like us to beat a team that is better than us one day, right? Isn't that why we, you know what I mean? We want to upset somebody.
Yeah.
So we got to get the tags right. So if this is how we would defend, Luke has him. Everybody's covered here. This is good. This is perfect, actually. So if you notice this, if we were to get the ball right now, we're already in a situation. Let's say a ball is played deep, and the keeper gets it. And now I want you to show me an offensive shape real quick, like slowly go out, because they have the 2 strikers. Show me what you would do. Before I tell you what I want you to do, you guys show me how you'd spread out right now. So the 4 is going to kick out. I like that. Gavin's going to kick out, and the 4. And Asher is going to get his dream, which is to become a midfielder, which is basically what's going to happen here. It's going to look like a 3 in the back and then 3 midfielders. So my fullbacks that want to be midfielders, you get to be midfielders when they go 2 strikers. I'd like to see the 2 get wider, right? Wouldn't you? Possibly. Because you can always come in. And the 7 can get wide. Now, listen, different clubs have different philosophies on this. What I'd like to see is everybody wide. The 7, the 2, you can always come in. So I'd like to see the 11 wide. Some people like to kink the 7 and the 11 in. I want them high and wide. I want them to drag them guys out. So this is what I want. If they're giving us this is what I want. That's what I want. Which will do what? Start to push them back, right? Okay. It's going to push him back, right? They're going to have to they're going to bracket the 9. So this kind of drags them back right now, which creates, we need this to happen. This is the one consistent thing. I want to highlight something. Whoever we put, before I go into the back line, I need to establish something. Whoever we put as our 7, 9, and 11, you're restricted. You're restricted in that the 7 and the 11 are always high and wide. Of course, you can check down. Of course, you have freedom. But in general, your first motion is to get high and wide, to take out the fullbacks, to pin them. Does that make sense what I'm saying? To pin them? Pin them. Get them out. The job of the 9 is to pin the center backs. They're not going to cover our 9 with just one center back. If they do, that's a mistake by them. We'll send the ball. Okay? So if you guys can do that, notice how many players we just took out. 4, correct? We took out 4 of their players with 3 of ours. And obviously their goalie can't help either, right? So realistically now, 5 of their players are out by 3 of ours, right? So now we automatically, if we can push their back line, get their back line to back up, we automatically create a numerical advantage, which we went over last week.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Should we push the 4 and the 5 higher? So then you can push the 3 and the 2 higher. Like, I don't know why why is our 5 and why are 5, 6, and 4 all in this kind of like same line?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm getting to them in a second. I want to
Oh, okay.
slow down. Yeah. What I'm talking about is this has to happen. This part has to happen. We have to immediately, when we gain possession, the 7 and the 11 have to immediately, and this wasn't happening, guys. They have to immediately sprint out wide. You guys heard me yelling it, right? I literally lost my voice. I lost my voice yelling poor Wilson to get wide and yelling at Gerard to sweep. This is how I lost my voice. They were the only 2 that I was yelling at the whole time. And I understand why they weren't doing it. They came from different systems that don't ask that of the outside player. And that's okay. But, we're going to ask that of them. Whoever's wide, sprint out wide, drag these guys out. Hopefully he comes to cover you. If he doesn't cover you, you're open. If he does cover you, there's a gap. I need the 9 to get the center backs out. Now, that's going to be a consistent theme. Like 80, 90% of the time, that's what's going to happen every time we gain the ball. I need these guys sprinting out, almost like NFL wide receivers, like booking out, running patterns outside, like deep and wide. Now we have some flexibility. This is the part that, and that's why the 7 and the 11 have to be dangerous players. They have to be dangerous enough. They have to be like a Gerard or a Wilson that people are going to be worried about, that they're going to worry about them, that they are going to mark them. It has to be someone they're worried about, that they're not going to do this and just single cover the guy. And then, and then we can't, if we send it to him, he's marked anyway because he can't get by the guy. So they have to be dangerous players. But they're limited in their tactics a little bit offensively, believe it or not. Defensively, they have a big job. It's very difficult for them. But now let's talk about the back, where Luke's talking about. This is where we have to read them on what they're doing. We have to read what the opposition is doing to us. Here's an example of, let's take the simple example where it's just a 6-8, okay, and the 10 is sitting back. All right, and they sit back like this. Take a simple example. If they did this, now it's kind of like one. So what could we do now? How many center backs do we need to break through this 9? The 6 can come out, exactly, because now we can. You guys move them, Gavin. We have a numerical advantage over the 9, so we can play more traditional. And this is something that was, and then the 6, 8, 10 can take opposite. Remember, in practice, we work on this, where the 6, 8, 10 are always in different boxes, like you lay out those boxes, right? But, at worst, you want to at least have the 10.
Right now, the ball's in the middle, so it's like,
it's
almost
fine.
like you kind of
You can stay in the middle right now. Of course, definitely stay in the middle right now. It's fine. It's totally fine. But here's what I actually want. When we get this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this. This is going to be our system. Because I want to pin the 6 and the 8. I also want to pin the 6 and the 8. So the 8 and the 10 can't always do that right away if we're in trouble. But when Pan has the ball, can you do it? If Pan has the ball in his hands, get out. If Pan has the ball at his feet and he has plenty of time, so get out, which he'll do what, guys? We talked about this before. So this needs to be established too before we forget this. When we go into the next game, you're going to hear me mention this maybe at halftime. If they don't do that, then the ball is sent. We have a huge, remember, look at this. We have a 3v2 here, right? You see it? The 8, 10, and 9 have an advantage centrally. The ball's got to be sent. So what'll happen is we send that ball a few times. It will back the 8 and the 10 up. I mean, the 6 and the 8 up, which creates even more space to play out of the back. We want to get a clean release out of the back. We have the quality to play out of the back. We have the quality to play out of the back, and we have the big pitch at Temple to do it. And every one of our games is going to be on turf. So we have nice flat surfaces to do it. What's that?
Now, what's the 6's responsibility here?
So the 6. So if it's only the 9, okay, then we get the 2 and the fullbacks get wide, right? And the 6 has this whole level to himself. So simple example would be if you play out to the 4 and he comes out to press, they come out to press, the ball can get sent over to the 5 and Gavin can just dribble forward. This is the easiest way to break this. If they press with one guy, it's simple. We're going to work on this during the week and every week. We're going to work on playing out of the back until we get good at it. It's the simplest way to break it. You guys remember when you're at practice with me, what do I mention? I'm like, don't try to dribble out. Like, this is what a lot of teams make the mistake of. Play it here. And then the 4 tries to either dribble himself or he plays it here and then this guy tries to dribble. Like, this is a dead end. Ball gets played. You draw him. This guy comes over. He's not going to split you. I haven't seen these teams really split guys. He's going to do this. Wait. Let him come all the way to you. You know, if you see this open here, sure, play it. Play up. But wait him come to you and then just play it back to Gavin. And Gavin just dribbles forward.
I would say even if the 3 is open, the 5 is still the free man in that situation, and you have to find them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to put because 3's not
5
really
is a
open.
way better
It kind of
option.
looks like he's open because of the 11.
Yeah,
It's
5 is
far
a
away.
way better option when the ball's here because the 11's covered. I mean, it's just the 3's on the side. We'd rather attack through the middle. This is a no-brainer. We're gonna work on this so much, guys. It's gonna be like simple. You're just gonna like realize, okay, draw them over, play it to Gavin. Gavin dribbles forward, and then they will change their tactics. They're not gonna allow us to do that all game. Okay, they'll start doing this. This is what'll happen. And now, when they start doing this, now what do we have to do? Tell me what we have to do. Because they're gonna get annoyed. Like teams aren't stupid.
Drop the 6 in.
Gotta
Drop the 6 into the middle, and
who's
then
controlling the 6, guys? You gotta put your who can control stuff? Just Alejandro, Luke, and Gavin. Can you put your names on stuff so I don't have to move all the pieces?
Sure.
I mean, I'll move them, but like I like you guys to do
moving them.
Fine. So show us what you're gonna do here then, Luke and Gavin, and I'll move the 4, I guess. And Gavin, you can move yourself. Exactly. And now what I want you to notice is, well, actually, let me go back a second. Let's put Luke here. Let's do what we did before. I want to show you again the bad. I want to show you the bad. This was the bad. This is what we were doing. It's not your guys' fault. It's like we're a new team. And they got lucky that this was they did this to us. We started playing out of the back, and then they started sending their 10 up, but they also started pushing their 7 and 11 up. So this made it extremely difficult for us. like extremely difficult for us. This was very, very hard. So, you know, this is a problem. Everybody's basically man marked. It means the space is behind. It means they have a disadvantage back here. But that's when the ball needed to be sent. But that's fine. We could send the ball, definitely send the ball. But we don't even want to get into this situation in live play because this is dangerous. Like, let's say we can't send the ball because he's under pressure. Like, Luke needs to drop in. The way we remedy this, Luke drops in, Gavin splits out, and now watch. When the 2 goes out, what does the 7 have to do? He's got to drop. Okay? Plays back to Luke, spreads out, splits it. This is a rotation that now basically gives us a 3v2 here. And it relieves pressure by having our fullbacks become midfielders. And that drags their midfielders, their 7 and the 11, back out and gives us more space. And on Temple's pitch, it's going to be beautiful. And even on the smaller pitch at Real New Jersey, which you're going to play at, that's smaller. It's going to be nice to have not guys right up our asses. So does that make sense what I'm showing here? Yes, no? Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then at that point, now the 8 and the 10 can't both stay deep. Someone has to become the new 6, right? The functional 6. It has to function as the 6. That would be the 8 and the 10 would stay. So now look, it's basically a 3, 3, 1, 3. This is the formation we go into when they and you have a lot of flexibility within this. So I was getting at, we have a lot of flexibility of movement. The 7 and the 11 are restricted, but that's because there are dangerous players that are we're going to try to isolate 1v1. So we don't want them moving around too much. We want to keep them as a threat. But everyone else has some flexibility. Like Gavin can come out wide. He can come in, which creates a little natural triangle here, right? So there's a lot of flexibility. He can come in, he can stay out. The 8 can find little pockets. So it gives us a lot of flexibility, right? We played out, but we can always bypass. This is just a 3v2. And if you look at it now, you know, look at it this way, it's a 4v2, right? With the goalie as a backup. Okay. Which is beautiful, right? Even if you consider these guys manned, right? This is just a 4v2, which we do all the time in practice. We play it here. What happens? This guy comes out. Okay. This guy will usually shift over. You bounce it again. This guy shifts over. You bounce it again, and he split. And when he splits them, hopefully this guy gets turned or not turned. Maybe the 2 comes in, checks in, and you play them, right? Lots of options. Or he keeps him drug out when the ball's played here. As the ball's being played, Gavin makes a 3rd man run, and we break it that way. So because now Gavin is essentially like a half of a fullback because he's got 3 in the back, so he can start to operate. You know, the 2 and the 3 are operating more like wingers almost, right? Like midfielders, outside mids, and Gavin's acting a little bit more like a fullback. So our formation gives us flexibility. We have quality players that can take on different roles. I want us to take advantage of that. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Yeah, I got a quick question, Gavin.
Yeah.
So like in that situation, if I join the attack, right, and we push, and say we lose it on transition on like a ball and get caught out, does that mean that like Luke would turn into the marking back and take 10, and I would just bust back and get that free roll? Or do I have to work all the way back to get to that 10?
No, you would take the closest guy. So Luke, and this is something that's going to take time for us to get good at. we need our players to always think ahead to the counterattack before it happens, preemptively. You need to think. So who are the players right now that should be thinking attack, and who should be thinking stop the counterattack? Give me someone shout out some numbers of who should be thinking stop the counter right now. Give me the number, because I want you to think that.
8, 4, 6, 2, maybe even 10.
The
3.
goalie.
Yep. And then, the 7 to 9 and 11 should not be thinking counterattack right now, right? We all agree on that, right? They got to think attack, or we're never going to score. Okay. The 10 can be thinking attack. That's fine. But Gavin's obviously thinking attack. All right. So everyone else has to think counter. So already, and this is what we brought up right now, we're going to form our +1 while Gavin is attacking with the rest of the guys. And not only is that +1 going to help us stop the counter, it's going to give us a good offensive shape in case we need to keep possession, if we have to slow down the attack. So the way we would form it is, do you want me to move it, or you want to start moving them, Luke, for there as Gavin's going?
I could drop in a Gavin's spot. Like here.
Exactly. Perfect. That's the first step, because that now gives us, right off the bat, right there, is the most important guys to cover. And this is actually a good offensive shape. If Gavin got turned around here somehow and couldn't play, we're now in a possession shape. Right? He can just play back to Luke, and we're being pressed with 2 players. So we're right back where we started from, but we have the ball now, right? It's a good shape to be in. It'll stop all the counterattacks because we have the +1. If Gavin were to lose the ball, right? Let's say he went crazy, tried to dribble. Now we can immediately start marking. Like Luke's a little spread out, but we'd have to secure this guy, and then the free man would be Luke. So we're already in great shape. The 3 would have to tuck in, right? The 2 would tuck in for the 7, and we would just delay until Gavin got beat. We would delay until Gavin got back. Everybody would delay. Exactly. The 2 would cover both of them until Gavin got back. Try to slow the attack until Gavin could get back. And now we're back to +1 again, and then Luke would just position himself wherever he thought that they could play into a hole. And if we do that preemptively, we have that's everybody. Like at that point, I don't want Gavin thinking counterattack. I want Gavin thinking attack. I want Luke, the 8, someone else to loop back and think counter. And then teams won't score on us. There was a picture I took, and this is what it looked like when we had 2 in the back. Let me see if I can show you. Because we ended up with just 2 in the back, we didn't have sorry, let me get new share.
Jim, that's one of the things that stuck out to me, though, was that they created a lot of space on their counters, right? So when I was playing center back, it looked a lot of times like they were just coming at us, and there was nothing to stop them. And as center back, we could only stall them for so long until other people, other players come in and kind of support the defense,
This was I blame myself, but I don't blame myself. Like, in other words, this was just a natural progression. We can't tell you the entire, it's because we're man marking, guys are getting pulled out of places. But
yeah,
the reality is there's an answer for it. Which is we have to keep, and we went over it, but I don't expect everybody to prefer. We got to keep the +1 in the back at all times, offensively and defensively. Defensively, we keep the +1. Why? Because it stops. It's a sweeper. It stops any through balls. Offensively, we want the +1 because, like, when we're on offense, we want the +1 because it's actually good for offense. It allows us to keep possession, always having 1 extra in the back. We can cycle the ball more, right? While we're on offense. But then while we're on offense, eventually we're going to lose the ball. So whenever we lose the ball, if we had +1 on offense, we automatically have the +1 on defense. Automatically. Because we had it on offense, we automatically now have it on defense without having to change the shape. And that's the part we need to fix. You'll see here we were attacking. We lost the ball. Can you guys see the picture? We lost the ball because we didn't have a +1 while we were attacking. Believe it or not, we had in normal defense, you guys had a +1 a lot. Like we did a great job. The only part we're missing is like we were at times when we were countering, we just need to now have someone hold to keep the +1. And just +1, that's all we need. And we weren't going to solve every problem like in 1 week. So I saw so many good things, guys. Like seriously, like I'm pretty tough on and this was like we have a lot of quality players, so it wasn't. There was a lot of good things you guys did. We ran the system pretty good. That's why I'm giving you the highlights of like I like as a coach. This is how I like to coach. You guys know me. I like to fix the most important problems first. I don't want to fix 10 things at once. I like to fix the most pressing issue first. Pardon the pun, because one of the issues was the press. So this is the most important next step we can take. If we take the step, a lot of the things that people were seeing, including myself, a lot of the other things we were seeing were caused by this. So the thing Marcel was talking about, where now he's 2v2, that's a disadvantage. Like you guys are really good defensively, but we do not want to be in this situation, right? Nobody wants to be in this situation, right? Consistently. And that's how they got us. They basically just got us on the, and I don't know if they designed this on purpose. I have no idea.
Is this the one they scored off of?
No, they didn't even score on it, but they had a good chance.
Yeah, coach, we need to.
And we tracked. Listen, Condi tracked back like a bat out of hell, but like we don't want to be in that situation. And I didn't tell Condi to drop in as the extra center back before the game, so it's not a big deal, guys. Like this is the next step forward. There's always going to be a next thing we have to fix, and this is the thing that let me share the other screen now. So I think the other share I had was the not pressing right, which I already kind of went over. So yeah, I mean, the big thing now is to always keep that +1 in the back, even while we're attacking, because it's good for offense. I want you to understand that. Number one, because it's good for offense. Number two, it stops the counter. It's a good offensive shape to have. So is there any questions about that?
Yeah, coach, I would say what Marcelo said, we have to have like some kind of outlet to create a space, because if we want to score, it has to come from that area, because they did that a lot against us, and they create a lot of chances against us. We didn't have that much chances, but it all became like, sometimes I noticed something during the game. The only outlet we had was to go to T in the middle. T will usually drop off to get the ball, but again, he has no way to turn, and then he had no way to play 1-2 and then just send the forward in. So we have to have somebody. I know, like I was trying to tell Gerard at the halftime, he got to drop in sometime to actually play 1-2 with his midfielder, so he can just push the ball, just drop it 1-2 and then go. Gavin did that a lot, where he dragged the ball. There was nobody coming in, so he had to force to play. And Marcelo did that too. Like he had to force the play. But we have to have work on that one, how we can create it. And as you say in the beginning, our wide play has to be wide open. Our field is so big. If it ain't wide open, we will be able to create a lot of chances and then the guys in the middle too will have a lot of free time to actually play that 1-2 if they play wider. But as of right now,
no, what you're saying is you're preaching to the choir here. We did not have width, as I lost my voice, and it looked like this, and we were under immense pressure early in the game. Like the second half of the game was basically tied, right? Like the second half, except for that trap goal at the end, which we were trying to score. So I'm not going to count that goal because we sent everybody forward. But the second half was essentially scoreless. But one of the issues was in the first half, we were too narrow, as Condi's saying. Like, so the ball, this is where I lost my voice. The ball would go to Asher, and this guy would press, and the lane to Wilson was blocked.
Yeah.
You see it? Wilson was looking to go deep like this, but you know, we're not going to score consistently off that. What we needed was this out here, and the ball could have been with Asher down here. It could be sent right down the sideline, and he could just check in, and then hit T-Ben checking in, you know, and then maybe make a run. Or
Exactly.
Gerard makes the run.
Exactly.
We were missing this width, and my voice, I lost my voice yelling at Wilson. So I talked to Wilson afterwards. Like, I actually had to pull him to the bench because it was so bad, and I thought we were going to lose the game because Asher was under so much pressure because of the way they were pressing, and I felt like we could still get out of it without having to drop in, and I didn't want to fuck you guys up with the 3 in the back because I didn't know this would have been an easy solution. Just to get him wide, we would have been fine. But I still want it to be like this. If they do this, I still want this. So if they do this is even easier. Okay. Now they're really screwed. They did do this, right? You know, now we're coming over, and now Asher can drop in. They're really screwed. They're going to press with this many guys. We're going to break this so easy.
Why didn't we do that?
We're going to break this so easy. We're going to break it so easy with 3 in the back. It's going to be a joke. But we could have broken it. We still could have broken it with our quality, but without doing this, although it's not tactically optimal, but our quality was so good that we could have broken it real quick, one touch, boom, boom. But not when Wilson was like inside like that. It allowed the fullback to stay in, which then if we did somehow get the ball into T-Ben, it was just all congested in here. So we definitely need the width. I'm going to make the changes to get the width. Like, one thing I promise you guys, people might hate me for benching them or Wilson didn't. Wilson handled it great. And I want to say that out loud to everybody that if it's you that gets benched or doesn't start, I want everybody to handle it as well as Wilson did. Didn't throw anything, didn't throw a tantrum. Like, I have a lot of respect for Wilson after that. And I'd like to see everybody else handle it the same way because that's how you build a team. And just prove me wrong next time. And I'll come to practice and prove me wrong if I did something that you disagree with. I'll be more than happy to change it. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. Show me my mistake, and I'll fix it. So yeah, so Andy bringing up the width, ungodly important. It's one of our principles of our game model, and really of any game model, is to get width. It does so much when you have width, right? And now, you know, I don't know how many the other team's going to press with. I was trying to watch. The thing was sketchy. It looked like they were only pressing with one, but let's prepare for either scenario. But having width just does so much, you know, to break those lines. Here we would definitely do, you know, the 6 coming in and the 3 up. So let's get that right. The 8 drops in. The 10 becomes the playmaker, the enganche, as they say. Okay, and this gives us a 2v1 on the sideline right here, where now, you know, we have a 3v2 in the middle, right? But when the ball, so we have a 3v2 when Luke has it. When the ball goes here, thanks. Need everybody to understand this. This is the numerical advantage that keeps being created. Now we have a 2v1 on the sideline, right? If we can react fast enough, the 3 can drop down. But what he needs is, as Condi mentioned, this guy can't be here or it's going to get intercepted by the 2. He has to be in a situation here. Plus, even if he checks down, look at this. He's checking towards his own sideline. It's not as good. We want him here. So he checks down, And now he can face the field. And then, the 10 can check in and maybe we play the 9 through. So many good things can happen when you're wide. It's always better to be wide and play in. So we definitely need that. And,
one thing I want to say is like when, let's say 11's out here, right? And the ball gets swung to the 3. And if the ball gets played, let's say 10 was here, right? And the 2 now comes to him. If we're in this situation, this is terrible, right? Because now if you check in, it's too late. Because they're going to be able to close off all this. You know what I mean? And we're probably going to lose the ball. You know what I'm saying? But if we did something like this, where instead of the 10 or the 8, let's say, comes up, and now you can't play to the 8 directly, but you can do this, and even if the 2 comes up, you can still have this pass because he already predicted that the ball is going to go up the line. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we're gonna work on those things because we're gonna play out of the back. This is basically, so we're gonna do playing out of the back rondos, which will be 4-3. It'll be 8v6 is the way they're generally done. So, and if you look, it's called an 8v6 rondo, and look at this, 8, and then or 4, 3, and 1. That's 8 versus their 6, because these guys are pinned. Is what I want you to understand. If we pin these guys right here, if we pin these guys, it's always an 8v6. That's why in any tactical training book or anything, you see 8v6 playing out of the back, 8v6 playing out of the back, and then we can have our B team come at you guys in different tactical things. We could have them come at you with 4, right? I can teach their call it the scout team. Geary and those guys, they're all for the club. They'll be glad to do it. I'll let them counter if they steal it. But they'll come out and give you different looks to try to beat. Okay. They'll show this. They'll show dropping back. Okay, with just one presser, which then you would do what? Send the 6 back out. Just keep the 4 and the 5, right? Okay. They'll show you this look. They'll show us so many looks, and we'll just keep adapting, because we need to be flexible in the back to solve all the problems of playing out of the back until we can just do it. Until we can do it to where the other teams don't even want to press us, or if they do, they're dead. They'll just stop because they'll be dead every time. We'll beat them every time, and we'll leave them in the dust. We'll break the line. So we're gonna, if they play with 1 striker, we do that, like we said. If they play with 2 strikers, as he comes up, these guys will recognize that they're being manned. Just play it back to the goal. Spread. See it? 6 drops in. 3 goes up higher. That's all you do. Play it back to the goalie and reset. There it is. Okay, and if they drop away again, okay, then no worries. Okay, just he can check out. Play it there. All right, and then the 10 covers them. No worries. The 9 presses. Play over, and we're going. It's very simple. We're going to solve all these problems in practice. Why it's very important you guys come to training as much as you can. Now you've seen it on the tactical. But seeing it's one thing, but now I want to give you guys plenty of opportunity to run against it. And then you'll also run against the A team. Will try to press you. Whoever's going to be the striker and the wingers, Nana and T-Ben, will press you, and they'll get to score. They'll get the counter and score. But you guys are going to play out of the back. The people who play the back line will play out of the back. That's how we're going to start training the offense. If anybody's wondering, we're going to start training the offense. It's very similar to the way we started training the defense. We trained the defense from the 9 backwards. We're going to train the offense from the keeper forwards until we get to the striker. Does that make sense? That's how we build a team. And we'll build our game model in our club.
Coach, we also have to implement like playing fast out of pressure. It went against us a lot. The 2 goal they asked to score in the first half, I think that was us being slow on the ball and just getting out. Because I feel like we did some good thing, like getting out of pressure in the back. Gavin and then what's his name on the side. They did pretty good job just like swinging the ball back and forth. When Marcelo was playing wide, he did a pretty good job just swinging back and forth and come in the middle. We did that against them like in the first half, but like our quickness has to be better. It has to be better.
Now, I agree with you, Conde, and I'm gonna cut them a break. And anybody who knows me knows I hate people over dribbling. But if it looked like what we talked about tactically, right, where we had this situation, and I'm not letting them totally off the hook, Conde. Don't get me wrong, because I hate. There probably isn't a coach out there that hates the over dribbling more than me. I'll challenge anybody. But if it looks like this a lot, where everybody's basically manned up in the back, because like it's kind of, to the point where, there's nothing there because tactically we failed. Now he's like 1v1. He's looking, oh crap, if I pass back to Gavin, he's got a guy on him. There's not much to go with, but again, I'm not leaving him off the hook. Whereas this looks, it's harder to create a numerical advantage here. It's already too late almost. Whereas when they went with 2 strikers, if we, like we showed, dump it back to the goalie, come in, come out, bing, 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 bing. The 8 drops in, 4 comes out, and now we can play it here. He presses him. Luke is a free man. Play it here, and we split them because we created a numerical superiority. The way we can get away from the dribbling, and again, I don't want to let them off the hook, but we have to fix the off the ball movement before I blame. There's a thing in coaching, you always look at the off the ball movement first before I blame on the ball. But so we're going to fix the off the ball, and then if they're over dribbling, well, then they'll get benched, Conde. I promise you, I'll bench them. So, but we're gonna fix the off the ball movement so that we can break the lines with passing, and just dribbling should be like a last resort when you run into trouble. But we need to like tactically always create these numerical superiorities all over the pitch anywhere we can, and we're gonna delve deeper into it as we go. This is only the beginning. We're only starting with creating numerical superiority. Like you saw, Luke started to get into creating numerical superiority in the midfield. We're going to do that too. But I want to first start with, let's create numerical superiority on the back line. Let's get that down. And then we'll move, once we're comfortable with that, we'll move on to creating numerical superiority in the midfield. Then we will create numerical superiority on the front line, so that we can, beat people without having to dribble. Make sense? But I agree with you, Conde. That's why we got scored on, really. I mean, I thought you guys marked well. The people who were watching the game that gave me analysis told me, they were like, you guys marked well. Like, you actually did a hell of a job. It was basically we turned the ball over. And I think my analysis is, yes, we turned the ball over, but I think we did it because we weren't handling their high press well. And again, it's not our fault. It's not our fault right now. It will be our fault if we fuck it up again.
Absolutely, guys. I know some of you guys, I haven't played some of you guys for so long, but you can ask the guys I play with, Marcelo, Gavin, T. You can ask them. I would tell you exactly what's going on. Like if you're doing something, I'll just yell at you. Just as I accept from you, if I'm doing something wrong, just tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong. Like that's how you improve as a teammate. And then as a soccer player, you gotta be able to take a criticism. That's the only thing you gotta learn. That's the only way you get from the coach, from your teammate. You have to be able to accept to get a criticism. Just ask Marcelo. This past Sunday, I was just yelling at him for something he's not doing right. And then I accept him to do the same thing to me. He will also yell at me. If I'm lazy on the field, he will tell me exactly. Ask him. He know me better than anybody in here. So I will tell you exactly on the field. And after we get out of there, it's done. It's done. And then we just get back on the practice ground, correct it. So, and you gotta be the same way with your teammate too. Just we all learn from each other. And then some of us being around, coach can tell you, be around this game for so long, he would tell you the only way you learn is just by listening and then take the criticism. It's just this team has a high quality, and we also want to bring a high quality player. So you just gotta give us what we ask from you. And then if you can't do that, maybe probably not. It's not a place for you. And then it's just you gotta do that with anybody, anywhere you go. It's like semi-pro, like anywhere, D-League, like overseas, anywhere you go. Guys, like I've been a team in Australia where coaches just sit down and then like rip me apart, like, and then just tell me, come back and the next morning we'll work on it. And then many coaches was there with that, like D1 college coaches they would tell you like that. And then what happened the other day, like I told anybody on the field, we did a great job. It just comes to happen how we turn the ball over that just screwed us, and then we can correct it. We can correct it going to the next game. So that's all I have to say. Like I haven't have a chance yet to watch the tape and then to see what I can do better. But as I told coach, I would just take my time and watch the thing and then improve. And I set everybody on this field, this team, to do the same thing. Just watch the tip, watch your movement, watch where you lost the mark, or watch exactly what you could have done better. Just do the same thing, like just couple times a day. Just watch, even if you watch it first half, and then just and the guy on the bench too. I want you to come on the field and then just like a practice ground and just work hard and then just earn your spot. And we need everybody help. Everybody. That's all I want to say.
I
Yo,
think that was well said.
just picking back off what you said, bro. That's like literally excellently said, bro. You gotta think about being here is like being at a job. Everybody that works, your job has a guideline that you have to follow. You feel me? So everybody have to follow the guidelines in order for that job to run successfully. And it's the same thing here. Everybody have to buy into the expectation of what is need to be met in order for us to have a successful season. And that means everybody has to be able to adapt. The ability to listen is number one. Like just us as a human being, bro, we have to listen. That's how we grow as a human being, and that's how you grow too as a player. Because the more you listen to other people, the more you work on things that you're not good at. And with me, like, bro, I still feel like there's so much shit that I could grow on in this game. I'm nowhere near the player that I want to be. But you guys are gonna help me get to that level just by you telling me, yo, bro, if you're doing too much right here, slow it down. Just how, bro, in the game, just how you told me, yo, bro, you're doing too much dribbling right now. Boom. Then I had to simplify that shit. I'm not gonna get mad, like say, yo, why the fuck are you telling me this? Nah, bro, we all here to be on the same page and the same team. So everybody literally just have to buy into that common goal and that common cause for us to have a really, really successful season. Because I see a lot of great things from this team, bro. Like in the game, I know we were all frustrated because we were losing, bro. But actually watching the videotape, our shape was there. Like everything was there. It's little stupid mistakes, and that shit is easy to clean up. Literally easy shit to clean up. But like from being in the game watch and watching the film, it's like two different perspectives, bro. Because in the game, we're panicking. We're like, oh yeah, we playing like shit because we're losing. But watching the game, bro, our shape was there. Everything was there. It's just little details. Once we clean up these little details, bro, we're gonna be a force to be reckoned with coming up. Like people don't know what the fuck they're getting into, but this team is gonna be a problem. I promise you, boys. We just gotta buy in. Like we're gonna be a problem, boys. You just gotta trust that process. You gotta trust trust in the coach and trust in each other. That's the number one shit. We gotta trust in each other, bro.
Well said, T-Ben. And I promise you this, guys, from my perspective, and that was well said by T-Ben and Condi, and it's great leadership that, like, if those guys are saying that they're willing to accept criticism, and they've been around the game for a long time. Everyone needs to be able to accept the criticism, including myself. And I promise you this: when you guys come to me and you say something, you think something's wrong, my ears are always open and I'm listening, and I'll hear you out and I'll give you a counterpoint. And if you're right, we'll do your idea. And I promise you also that I will never stop trying to get better as a coach. I read my library behind me, just some of the books. I read vast amount of books all the time on training and tactics so that I can better serve you guys. And I'll never stop trying to learn and watching the latest training methods. You'll never see me stop learning because I'm not where I need to be as a coach, just like not everybody's where they need to be as a player, because we can always grow and get better. There's always something else to learn. This game is endless. So there's always something to get better at. And everyone needs to have that attitude like T-Ben and Condi have. So if that's everything for this session, I can turn it off. This way, those that we can say things more privately. If anybody wants to say anything, that won't leave the room of a recording, because our stuff goes on the internet, so the other team can see stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, just real quick before we move on. Before we
Yeah.
move on past the last game, I just wanted to say, we played a decent team, and they definitely penalized us for our mistakes. So we just had to clean up our game. Like T-Ben said, the form was there. Watching the footage, we actually did play to pretty close to the tactics, right? So we're there, guys. We're really close. There's only 2 games into the season, right? Top of the table probably has 4 points. We're sitting on 3.
Yep.
We got to win the next game. Let's win that one, win the one after that, win the one after that, win the one after that, and this league is ours, right? So let's just let's keep improving. And I didn't think we played bad. I just think we made a couple of mistakes, and the other team capitalized. Plain and simple.
Yeah, and this is a long-term thing, guys. Like we're gonna win. The winner of the fall plays the winner of the spring to see who plays in the playoffs. So not that we're not gonna try to win the fall, but like I'm the kind of person, I like to build. I'm a builder, and I don't like taking shortcuts, because 2 months from now, I would like to say that we made all the progress we can make by doing things the right way, and be in a really good place in 2 months where, we're, like you said, we're close. Let's continue down that road. I don't think we need to take shortcuts. I think we're a good enough team to build the right way and still get some wins while we're building the right way. And again, I want to reiterate, trying to do things tactically, trying to do things the right way, sometimes you take a loss. I really want the leaders of the team to make sure everybody understands that could backfire temporarily, but it will pay off in the end. I promise you. And there you go. Anybody else before
what was the score of the Danubia game? Did Danubia beat
I'll stop it now.